Hey guys, welcome back to my channel today. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a good old-fashioned hits and misses video where I chat about the makeup products I have now thoroughly tested and whether or not they are a hit, as in worth buying, super pumped about them, or whether they are a miss, which is basically just avoid at all costs. So let's get right on into it. I do have quite a few really exciting products to start off with. The first one being some new releases from Anastasia Beverly Hills. So I do want to talk first about this cream bronzer. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills cream bronzer in the shade Amber. As you can see, I really love the outer packaging. I love how it has her emblem there, and it's actually raised off of the cap, so it's not flush with the cap. So that is super elegant. On the other side of it, we have the cream bronzer there with the shade name. Now, Anastasia is a cruelty-free brand, and this is a 12-month shelf life bronzer. Now, this is a very interesting cream. So I've actually tested it quite a few times, some with brush application, some with sponge application. And basically either way, I feel like you can really apply this well on the skin. I do think that it blends well, but the reason why I'm gonna call this a miss today, and the reviews are super good for this one, so I'm not sure where I went wrong with this personally, but the color of this to me, I just don't like. I did try it in my trying new high-end makeup video, and I tried it over a base that was oxidizing on me quite a bit. You can see here that the swatch isn't even that bad. Like, it doesn't seem to be super yellow, but for some reason on the skin, it translates in a really weird way. So this is a very heavy swatch, of course. This isn't how much you would put on your skin at one time. So maybe that's why, like, if you really shear this out, it tends to look quite light. I might do a lighter swatch here just so you can kind of see what I mean. But for some reason, as you shear it out on the left side, it starts to look kind of yellowy, I don't know, or orangey. So on my skin tone, and this is actually supposed to be the shade for light to medium skin tones, it just doesn't translate well. I don't know. And then because of that, it doesn't make me want to use it because of the color. Overall, this product is actually a miss in my opinion, just because of the shade. I do feel like the product though itself, when you actually look at formulation, when you look at how it blends, when you look at how it applies, it actually is really nice. But for some reason, the shade brings it right down for me, and I'm really reluctant to shade up or down. So for that purpose, I know I'm not going to really find joy in using it when I don't like the shade of this. This is, unfortunately, a miss. The Anastasia Beverly Hills Cream Blush, on the other hand, is one that I really love. This is actually a brand new one as well. I believe it was released the same time as the bronzer, and this is the stick blush. The shade that I picked up is called Pink Dahlia, and this is a dual-ended product actually. So you can roll up the product like so, and then on the back of it, it does have a brush. Now, the reason why I don't use this, honestly, it's just too small in my hand. I mean, it's perfect for on the go, and it's not super small where you can't hold it relatively comfortably, but it's a perfect brush hair type to really apply a cream blush properly and be able to blend it, work it right into the skin so it looks flawless. So this is the shade here. I'm gonna swatch it on my hand. This is obviously a very heavy swatch. This is a very bright springtime pink. I'm actually wearing it on my cheeks today, so I've really blended it out. You don't need to have a ton on your skin for it to look gorgeous. This is just a beautiful cream blush. I think the reason why this one is such a hit comparatively to the bronzer is because this shade is actually something that's really fun. It's like a nice pop, like springtime, like pink blush. And, you know, as it shears out on the skin like this, it's very flattering. There's also a few other shades in this line, so this is one that I'm really excited about. You can see it's a really gorgeous pink reflective packaging. Sort of reminds me of Charlotte Tilbury's pink metallic packaging. You can see that the lights are just bouncing off of it. Then we have the brush side right here, which is super handy. And this side is the product. Really nice and smooth as well. Almost has like a rounded edge at the top. This is a definite hit from Anastasia for this launch. In my trying new high-end makeup video, I also put this primer to the test. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Invisible UV Flawless Poreless Primer. It has the longest name of all time. I have to take a breath halfway through when I talk about this one. This is the Smoother Looking Skin and Daily Defense SPF 50 Primer. Now this is one that is 1 fluid ounce. Because it's Charlotte Tilbury, it's more of a luxury price tag, and that's gonna really depend for your personal preferences on whether you think it's worth it or not. What I will tell you though is that the product itself is really, really nice. So it does smooth into the skin beautifully. You just pump it using the side pump here. So it's kind of like a little clicky sound on this side of the container. And I find that sometimes product will collect right at the opening and sort of have a bit of a hardened aspect. You just have to pump that right out and then the product comes through. It's actually a beige color. So I'll show you on my hand here. It's relatively thick actually. So this is what it looks like here. It's like a nice light beige. And then when you blend it into the skin, this is going to be heavy, but you can see that it has quite a bit of glow to it. So I actually really love that. It just gives the skin a nice youthful look and brings light right to the face. Does not have fragrance, which I love. That is something that sometimes happens with Charlotte products. But when you put it underneath makeup, you can't put it over top of your makeup to reapply for that sun protection. So really, you are going to need some kind of other sunscreen on top if you're wanting to reapply. But when it comes to a no makeup day, you're maybe using the flawless filter or something underneath this one, you will get quite glowy, so just be careful. But this is one for those no makeup days. Basically, you can reapply it very, very easily, and it just has a beautiful glow. So this is how my hand looks all blended in there. So you can see that it's super gorgeous. Coverage, basically nil, but it's not meant to be a coverage product. It's really meant to prime and to provide that sun protection. I find that this one layers under a lot of foundations really beautifully as well. So I'm not finding that there's one that's meshing wrong or something. It just looks perfect under everything. This is a really gorgeous primer from Charlotte Tilbury. This is a hit. I want to talk about another unfortunate miss, and this is actually one of the first misses, I would say, in this makeup line that I've tried. And I think it just probably speaks more so to my preferences with lip products versus the product itself. But this is the Victoria Beckham Beauty Bitten Lip Tint, and I actually did pick this up not that long ago. It's supposed to be a lip stain. Now, it has to do with the color of this as well as the formulation. This is one that claims to stain your lips with a kind of light wash of color, so nothing crazy. I'm going to show you on my hands here the color. It's kind of like a terracotta color, like a brownie beige. Definitely has a lot of brown elements to it, so that's the first kind of con I would say about this one, just purely preference sake. I don't think this is a color that I really like on my skin tone or really as a preference in general. Really is nice and glowy and thin in consistency as well. I do find that if you apply this unevenly on the lips, you'll be able to tell because it sort of concentrates a bit. So you really have to make sure with that initial application that you are doing a nice even layer across your lips and then let it fully dry for it to have that long-lasting effect. The packaging of this though, I think it's so stunning. It's so heavy in the hand, feels very luxurious. I love the kind of lighting effects on the cap here. Victoria Beckham kills it with the luxury packaging. This is what the tiny wand looks like as well. It has a nice little bend there to really get into the crevices of your lips, which I do appreciate. So I like that part of it as well. But I think what I've come to notice is I like the ColourPop ones better, which is very odd because I wasn't expecting that at all. But the ColourPop ones let you reapply or layer the tint on top of each other very easily and not to a point where it's going to flake or get clumpy on the lips. Whereas this one, I feel like sort of has an upper limit. If you do keep adding, I find that it sort of dries your lips out. So this is one that really is perfect for those of you that want a light wash of color, one that really will stain well, but the color has to be one of your favorite things because it will actually be true to life on your lips. So the brown for me just wasn't my favorite. But then second, I didn't like how drying it got my lips. I found that I was applying a lip balm over top almost all day long. It just felt slightly uncomfortable. it could also speak to the fact that lip stains are not my most preferred lip product. So that's why I'm going to say this is definitely a con for me and my preferences, but this could be one of your absolute favorite products if you don't mind, you know, the colors that are available in this line, as well as how it looks on the lips. Next, I want to talk about this Jo Malone London perfume I picked up quite a few months ago now, actually. And I did want to update you guys on this. This is the Nashi Blossom Cologne from Jo Malone London. It was part of her spring launch. She had quite a few floral scents that she came out with recently. And this is one that has the same longevity as the other Jo Malone products, which in my opinion is the biggest con of her line. It's so sad because she has some gorgeous formulations. The fragrances are stunning. If they just lasted a bit longer on the skin, it would be amazing. But for some reason, especially if you have dry skin, I find that they don't last that long on you. So when I have drier skin in the winter months, I find that I'm using a Vaseline plain lotion, applying it to the points where I want to apply the perfume, waiting till it sets about halfway, and then spraying the perfume right on top of that. It really helps to get that longevity going. In the summer, I'm not as dry, so I don't find it's a problem. But this is the exact same when it comes to longevity, so that's not changing here in this new line. And this is one that's actually kind of like a fresh floral. So it's not super floral where it smells heavy or kind of like powdery, if that makes sense. It actually has a really nice uplifting smell to this one. This one has a citrus element to it with a little bit of like a muskiness, a really nice white musk with the floral of the blossom flower, the Nashi blossom. So that's why I think this is one of the florals that she has made that has made it quite wearable for my preferences, because I do really like that citrusy, that fruity aspect, and it is on the fresher side of things. So to me, it feels like it brings up my mood when I spray it on my skin. So because of the fact that this is a limited edition cologne, I initially was a little bit worried that I was going to want the bigger product of this because it comes in this size and it also comes in a larger bottle. The larger bottle is 192 Canadian dollars. So it kind of made me cringe a bit because I'm like, I'm not going to buy that for a fragrance I don't know what it smells like, you know? Like, I need to smell it first in the mini size. It is lovely, but I will say that my Jo Malone London Wild Bluebell, my Nectarine Blossom and Honey, my Blackberry and Bay perfume, these are way nicer to me, and I would pay the more expensive price tag for those because I do like those combinations a little bit more than this one. So is it a really nice one to have for the spring and just for a season? Absolutely. I do think it's worth the money. This one I will say is a hit. Next, I want to talk about such a big miss. This came in the MAC and Alana Davison kit that I picked up. It was a collaboration with influencer Alana Davison. She's a Canadian influencer as well, and I love watching her content, but this is not a product that I like, unfortunately. So this is the MAC lip gloss. When I picked up her kit from MAC, I noticed that this was in it, and I was a little worried that it was going to be exactly what I thought it was way back in the day when I was younger. I picked one of these up, and it was the stickiest lip gloss ever. It was so sticky. It made it so uncomfortable. It would actually like travel in between your lips. So, you know, when you put it on your lip and then you speak, it actually like moves on the lips back and forth because it's so sticky. This is the shade See-Thru. So it is a really nice, like shade-wise, a really nice nude color with a little bit of a shine to it, but it is so sticky. It also smells very sweet, like vanilla almost, and it's sort of like a punch in the face. It's quite potent, you know, like it smells like a cookie or a vanilla cookie, like right there, you know. It's very, very strong. I do find that it lingers on the lips a little bit, but the stickiness I can't even handle with this stuff. It's just something that makes it basically unwearable in my opinion. This is the shade here, so you can see it's basically clear with a really nice glow. So ideally, I mean, it makes sense why it would be one of Alana's favorite colors just for every day, because it is so easy to wear over top of many lipsticks if this is a formulation you like. But for me, unfortunately, it is not a formulation I like. So this is definitely a miss, and I do like the other products in the kit there, so it's still worth buying in my opinion if you are wanting to support Alana. but this lip gloss is not it. This is a definite miss. I want to update you guys on the Too Faced Hangover Pillow Balms. This is actually a product that one of my friends here on YouTube, Stephanie, aka Babs Beauty, really loved. And I really wanted to give this a try because they're also made in Canada, which is a nice touch. This is the shade Watermelon Kiss. It does smell like watermelon. Very sweet synthetic watermelon. I wouldn't say it's like that natural smell. It's definitely more like manufactured, you know, which isn't a bad thing, but just so you know, if you're kind of scent aversive, it is relatively potent on this one. Certainly not as bad as the MAC product by any means, but this is one that when you do apply it to the lips, you will get that watermelon smell, but it does dissipate as you wear the product. So I'm wearing it over my Bobbi Brown lipstick, which is actually this one. This is from the Nordstrom anniversary sale. It's in the shade Cezanne Nude. This is a lovely shade, and I just put this pillow balm over top of it. So I really like this actually. It's more so on the thicker side compared to lip glosses that I'm used to. It does smooth out beautifully, has a very light wash of color. I'm going to show you here on my hand. So here we have the color, so you can see how light that is. It's just such a beautiful light pink, and it's interesting because it has a little bit of a tingle to it. I don't know if it's supposed to plump or what, but it does have a teeny bit of a tingle. I don't notice anything on my lips, like if they've gotten a little bigger or anything, but I do find that this is a lovely one that lasts quite a long time for a gloss. I also think because of how the formulation's a little bit thicker, it does have some moisturizing capabilities more so than other lip products I've tried that are lip glosses. According to Sephora, this is actually a lip treatment in the way that it has coconut water, avocado oil. It has a dream complex, which is their patented complex that's supposed to heal the lips. No idea what's in the dream complex, but what I can tell you is that it does make my lips feel really hydrated. It feels like there's like reparative things going on. It just feels smooth, has a nice sheen to it, layers over lipstick beautifully, has a really nice doe foot that is nice and wide, but also narrow, so you can really get in there. I don't know, I just am really impressed with this. There's not a lot of things from Too Faced that have really caught my attention, and this is something that didn't really catch my attention at first. If it wasn't for Stephanie recommending it, I don't think I ever would have thought to purchase this, but this is definitely a hit in my books. If you are interested in trying this, I think you'll really enjoy it. Let's talk about the newest Wayne Goss palette and my final thoughts on this new Wayne Goss Luxury Eye Palette in Pearl. Now I'm trying to open this without breaking my nails. I've always found his compacts hard to open. Finally getting this palette open. This is the new Pearl palette from Wayne Goss. Now you can see there's actually a little jab right in this shade here, and that's from me trying to open this palette. I find that when I finally open it, my finger skips and just jams right into one of the pigments. So it's really annoying. But anyways, I actually did a first impressions on this not that long ago, and I finally have all of the shades tested out. And what I will tell you guys is that this overall, in my opinion, is the best performing Wayne Goss palette so far. I will say the worst one probably across the board was Pearl Moonstone, because that was like the bluish grayish hues. The only shade I liked in that one was the shimmer, and I felt really bad because Wayne Goss is actually a really nice guy. I watch his content and I feel like it makes me learn a lot about makeup. He's just really talented, so it kind of breaks my heart when things don't work out that way. But that was the palette I had the most trouble with. It was quite patchy, it was hard to blend. It was one that I was just like blending for hours, trying to either build up a pigment or blend out the edges so it didn't look stark. Then comes the Imperial Topaz palette. That was the warm brown palette. It also had a matte black in that one, just like the Pearl Moonstone. That one was a little better yet. It was actually his first release compared to the blue one. The blue one was second. So this is his third one. By far, much more user-friendly. But I will say that what is maintained amongst all of the shadows is the softness. When it comes to opacity, it's quite light. So if you do want to have more color, more pigment payoff, expect to build up these shadows, especially the mattes. The shimmer as well will need to be built because it's actually quite a bit of a topper shade compared to having pigment underneath it. In my first impression video, I shared that the mattes were definitely a lot better. I will say though that when I started testing this shade, that is the one out of all of the mattes that seems to be a little bit harder to blend, but we're talking a little bit. We're not talking about substantial, so it is still something that I don't mind working with, but I find I'm blending a little bit more than say the matte over here or the matte over here. These are the two that blend a lot better. They build up a lot better. They layer a lot better. This is one that is perfect for shadowing. If you just want to shadow in like the outer corner, great. That's what I did in my video in the first impression. It worked perfect. This one is actually just as good as this one and this one. So this kind of like grayish purple color does a good job, I would say, overall. But if I could rank them, it would be like, these two are A, you know, like A+. This one is a B+, and this one is a B. You know what I mean? So they have some differences in them enough to notice when you actually use the palette and you're building your looks and putting your looks together, right? The satin in here is on the top row. It's right here. This one isn't too bad. It actually does build really well, blends decent, not great, but decent. This actually is a show-stopping shade because applied with a finger, it's actually great. I didn't find very much fallout at all. When you do apply it with a brush, expect a little bit, just given that it's more of a flakier pressed pigment. But overall, I would say this palette is better than the other two. So I'm really excited to continue to play with this palette, but just so you guys know, I would say there are still better formulations out there that are a little bit more consistent, like Charlotte Tilbury, Natasha Denona, Pat McGrath, kind of these three heavy-hitting brands. This is my favorite Wayne Goss palette so far for sure, and I'm just hoping that as he develops, this formulation is just going to get better and better from here. What do you guys think of all of these products that I reviewed today? Do let me know all your thoughts down below. I'm super excited to discuss them with you in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe if you are interested in more high-end and luxury reviews that are honest, sometimes to a fault. Until my next one, guys, take care and stay safe. Bye, guys.